Buddy, we are back. We are live. It is Sunday, November 7th. Yeah, it's November 7th, and it's a Sunday. And it's This Week in Pro Wrestling. We are back from our 2-month hiatus. It's been a long time since we've seen everybody, but here we go. And introduce yourself, Mr. Harris.
Once again, it is the J to the E to the double F Ray. And once again, welcome back to This Week in Wrestling. We've been away, we've been on a hiatus, but we are back now, and I am so happy. How are you, Mike?
We're doing good over here. Glad I'm done with the Halloween season.
Yep.
Which was kind of crazy with all the movies and everything else, that the theme park Halloweens and everything that was going on. I know you were busy because you had a bunch of stuff as well.
That's right. Still busy, really. And this week it's only going to get busier. Or not
Same.
This week, this month.
Yeah, exactly. In a couple weeks, we have a Survivor Series.
Mm-hmm.
We have a bunch of more wrestling items coming in. We got a bunch of movie stuff. There's a lot going on.
Comic-Con special edition. I'll be going to San Diego.
Same here. I'll be there as well.
Oh, wow. Yeah. So basically, we vote in California to take away daylight savings time and not have to turn our clocks back. We voted on this twice now. We voted for 2 propositions, and yet the legislature does not make a move to do anything, even though we voted to approve the end of turning our clocks back. So our clocks turned back today, and it is now 5 o'clock and the sun is down. I don't know why we do this.
It means we got to go. It makes us sleepy earlier and everything else. It makes it feel like
I don't like it.
But the good thing,
we
you can party
voted
all
on
night.
This twice. Why do we vote for things? Why do we vote for propositions?
I don't know, but this is the one that I really wish they would start enacting because I hate turning the clock back. But that's just me.
All right.
But let's get into the show. Let's get started.
So the big story the last week was WWE, the same day they announced their quarterly earnings for the week, the same day that they're announcing their Q3 earnings for 2021, they released 18 superstars, 18 wrestlers. We have the list right here. Some pretty big notable names right here. And we are going to go down each and every one. We're going to deep dive into the whole WWE release list and what we think about this. Each wrestler who got released, did WWE sabotage him or not? Is this promotional malpractice? But it seems pretty tacky to me that WWE has their quarter 3 earnings. They're announcing record profits. They're announcing they had a 15% increase in the quarter, and then they cut all these people. And right before the holidays. It's a little tacky to me, but what do you think, Mike?
Well, I think this has already happened more than once now over the last 2 years. I think them doing it right now, right after quarterly earnings, is tacky. I think it's a little, especially when you have a record high and they reported record high earnings and then they let people go. Usually, and I'll say this right now, usually in a normal business, when people do stuff like this and when corporations do stuff like that, it means that they're going to be sold. But I don't think WWE is going to be sold.
People have been speculating on the sell thing for a while. Is WWE selling the company, or is Vince McMahon selling the company? And a very good YouTube talking head, who I'm a big fan of, who doesn't have the biggest following, called Rant and Reviews. He's a financial investor, and he did some really good analysis on the Q3 earnings. And he said he noticed that some top WWE insiders are selling their stock now. And he said if they were going to sell the company, they would probably be waiting to sell their stock and not selling as much stock as they are right now. Not that they aren't selling. He didn't eliminate the possibility. So it could be that they're prepping. You know, they're leaning out assets and prepping for that time at some point in the future. So that is interesting, but I don't know. But here's the number this year. In 2021 alone, they've released 21 wrestlers. 21. Not
Damn.
20. 71.
71.
71
I was
in
gonna
2021.
I'm just looking at an
71.
article. I'm like 71.
71.
Shoot.
That's staggering. That's a whole
Yeah.
that's a whole roster. That's a whole company.
That's Ring of Honor. I just
We're gonna get there's some big news from Ring of Honor. We're gonna get into that later. But let's just go down this list of 21. Do we want to list all 18 wrestlers who got released last week, or do you want to go down name by name?
I say we list them all.
Okay, so here we go. Carrion Cross, Scarlett Bordeaux, Ember Moon, Oni Lorcan, Frankie Monet, Trey Baxter, Graham Metalik, B-Fab, Katrina Cortez, Jesse Camilla, Jeet Rama, Nia Jax, Keith Lee, Davey Boy Smith Jr., aka Harry Smith, Eva Marie, Mia Yim, Lince Dorado, Zeta Rainier. So that's 18.
Mhm.
Another 18 wrestlers. And before that, we had Bray Wyatt in late July, right before SummerSlam, and Braun Strowman earlier in the year. I mean, it has been a bloodbath. Ever since the pandemic restrictions and lockdown started, it has been a bloodbath of firings.
Mhm.
And before the pandemic started, like up until the start of 2020, WWE was basically hoarding talent up and down the roster. And now they're just letting everyone go. My theory is the only wrestler, and I'm not the only one who said this, the only wrestler who's safe in WWE right now is Roman Reigns.
Oh,
Is anyone else in WWE safe right now from getting released?
No.
You know who I'm worried about? You know who I'm worried about right now?
Mm-hmm.
Getting cut next?
Who?
AJ Styles.
Oh, that wouldn't shock me.
Because I love AJ. I'm sure you're a fan of AJ too, Mike.
Yeah,
but
big
look,
fan of AJ Styles.
But AJ is 44 years old. He's not a main eventer right now. He's a mid-carder in WWE. He's not in the world title mix. And he's not really headlining shows anymore. And he's not even on TV right now. That's another thing.
Yeah.
So when I look at WWE let go of Braun Strowman and Bray Wyatt, two top main event stars, former world champions, top moneymakers, top draws. You let those guys go because maybe they're getting paid too much and you need to make budget cuts. Why is AJ Styles not expendable too in WWE's eyes? I'm not saying he is. I'm saying in the people running the company and the people making the big decisions, the Nick Khans, the Vince McMahons, John Laurinaitis, Bruce Pritchard, what if they're thinking, man, AJ Styles, he's got, we re-signed him recently to a pretty big contract, and he's got less time in the business than what he's put in. I don't know if we can keep him,
Yeah, well, you look in the future too. Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano's contracts are coming up pretty soon. Will they get cut?
Okay, so let's go down the list. I think the biggest name that stands out the most to me is Keith Lee. So let's get into Keith Lee.
Is he really the biggest?
I think he is.
What about Carrion Cross?
Keith Lee is, because Keith Lee has, he debuted on the main roster even before Carrion Cross did. So
that is true. That's a good one to start with.
Keith Lee, the first NXT double champion, first guy to hold North American and world titles at the same time. Big star, really, he got over huge. He had that moment in the Royal Rumble with Brock Lesnar, and and remember, we had that great moment with Brock Lesnar where he comes out and Lesnar's like, big boy, and he got over huge.
Yeah.
He had a connection with the fans. The fans loved his music. They loved his story, his personality. He felt real. Everything was real about this guy. And he had a very scary bout with COVID. He got COVID earlier this year. I think he got it twice. The second time, he was suffering from a heart inflammation, and he was fighting for his life for several months. Mia Yim took time off because she wanted to take care of him and be there for him while he was ailing.
And if people don't know, Mia
Yeah.
Yim is his wife.
Well,
Not only
they're not
just
married. They're engaged.
Yeah,
in
well,
real
they're
life.
yeah, exactly.
She was also released too, but we'll get into
Mhm.
that.
Yeah.
Keith Lee, he eventually did come back, but after he came back, they repackaged him. They gave him this stupid Bearcat thing.
Mhm.
WWE drones said he came up with the idea as a tribute to Bearcat Wright, an old school wrestler. And then, of course, Keith Lee later denied that and said that wasn't true. That was clear. The whole Bearcat thing was garbage. Like Keith Lee, what is the point of NXT? NXT, I thought the whole idea was we're gonna repackage these guys. We're gonna get them ready for the main roster. We're gonna give them gimmicks. We're gonna train them how to work. We're gonna develop them here and then put them on the main roster. But now the NXT guys, like Keith Lee, they're going to the main roster and they're getting repackaged again by who's ever in charge of those things, and they ruin Keith Lee. I don't know a better way to say it, but they ruin Keith Lee.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I agree with you completely. I think the Bearcat transformation was dumb.
Bearcat!
Yeah, it was dumb.
That is not.
And then when did he come back?
He's this motivational underdog. He's fought for everything his whole life. He's limitless. That's his gimmick. He's limitless. That was his gimmick.
And that was like one of the best gimmicks ever. People got behind him. They were supporting him. They were pushing him on. When he took that break, it kind of slowed things up. And I think that was maybe not a good thing because it looked like it gave people time in the back to think about, oh, when he comes back, what can we do with him? How can we change him? Because he only wrestled as himself like a few times before coming back. And then they repackaged him maybe 2 to 3 matches after he came back.
I think they drafted him.
Yeah.
Let's see. Where was he drafted during the WWE draft? Like, why do you even have the draft if you're just going to fire these guys?
Yeah.
He was a third round draft pick for the WWE draft on night 1. So they have draft night 1. They draft him in the third round on TV to, where is it? They draft him. What show did they draft him to?
Raw.
Round 3. They drafted him to Raw, and then they fire him a few weeks later. What is going on with this company? Why do you have this stupid draft anyway? Why do you even put guys on TV? Why do you book them on TV, repackage them if you're just gonna? None of this makes sense.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense to me at all.
Where do you think this is coming from? Is this from Vince? Is this from Nick Khan or Bruce Pritchard or John Laurinaitis?
I'm thinking it's Nick Khan. I think Vince has given him the okay to do what he wants, and this is coming from Nick Khan.
Whose fingerprints do you think are on Bearcat?
Oh, that's John Laurinaitis. That's John Laurinaitis right off the bat. I may be wrong, but it just the repackaging and the marketing of wrestlers, I think, is John Laurinaitis and Bruce Pritchard.
Okay,
I think that's all them.
So I think for Keith Lee, it's more like Bruce Pritchard because Bruce Pritchard he's all about dumb gimmicks. He's like, do you remember Just Incredible from ECW?
Yep.
He was the one who came up, I'm going to make Just Incredible into Portuguese Man of War back in the mid-90s. That was Bruce Pritchard. Bruce Pritchard, remember Red Rooster, Terry Taylor as Red Rooster? That was Bruce Pritchard. Yeah. To me, Bruce Pritchard, he's stuck in the 1980s. His mindset is stuck in the 1980s. And Vince probably isn't much better. But I feel like this is significantly on them. I'm sure Nick Khan probably has his thoughts on who gets cut. But I'm just disappointed because Keith Lee, he seems like such a nice guy. He seems like one of the few, just nice, pure guys.
And it seems like
And
he likes
yeah,
to work, and I think he
yeah.
likes to work, and I think that's the thing that sucks is the fact that you got guys who like working in the WWE, who like to wrestle, who like to put in the work, and these guys are getting let go.
And Keith Lee even said at one point, I like Vince being hands on with me, so I know what he
Mhm.
wants. So,
Yeah,
man, I just feel bad for
exactly.
Keith Lee.
Yeah,
My
same
hope
here.
is here's the thing about Keith Lee. He's 36 years old, so I mean, he's not a spring chicken.
Mhm.
But my hope is he can find somewhere who will appreciate who he is, what he can do in the ring, and will let him showcase the best of his abilities.
Yeah.
Okay. I Now before we get to Cross and Scarlet, I want to. Okay, this is a hot button issue, but Nia Jax, and here's why Nia Jax is such a. Nia Jax was she was Raw Women's Champion, had big main events,
Mhm.
had two-time WWE Women's Tag Team Champion. Um, she was sort of the face of sort of anti-bullying and focusing on mental health issues. She got released.
Yep.
She was away from TV, according to what was reported. According to Nia Jax, she was taking time off due to a mental health break, which Fightful confirmed. She asked for an extension, which they apparently refused to give her, and now she's been cut. What do you think of WWE cutting Nia Jax?
That was probably the biggest shock out of this whole list because I really thought nobody like she was in touch. She was untouchable. I mean, being related to The Rock, you would think that she would be untouchable
That's
because someone.
the mind. Does being related to The Rock really protect you, though? Apparently not.
Well, no, not anymore. It looks like, but it's like that's the type of wrestler where you wouldn't want to lose her because if she jumps to the competition, she's gonna shine.
Okay, but here's the problem. Nia Jax beforehand had a reputation for hurting people in the ring.
Hmm.
She was the one who busted Becky Lynch's face
Yeah.
back in late 2018, and you had that bloody Becky
Hmm.
moment, which arguably did work out for Becky Lynch,
Yeah.
but she accidentally broke her nose, and she had a reputation over the years for being very sloppy and hurting people in the ring. What did
Hmm.
you think of her in ring work, though, Michael?
I think her ring work was fine. I think the
Okay.
times that she did do thing got sloppy.
Hmm.
I mean, how much of it is her and how much of it is the back saying, "Hey,
It
we need
seemed a
to."
lot of it was her.
Yeah, because like
Ah,
if you're management in the back, you're like, "Hey, you know what? We notice things. We need you to step back. We need to clean this up." And for safety of not only herself but others as well.
now let's see. How much time did she spend in NXT? She was in NXT from 2014 to 16. So
2 years.
I mean, she's been in WWE from 2014 to 2021.
Mhm.
So why? A lot of people said she still should have been in NXT, but why weren't they training her and sort of working with her to sort of reduce those issues, which I don't feel like they were doing. Do you remember the
Yeah.
story where Vince got mad at how Keith Lee was working on Raw and
Mhm.
said it and demanded he do more training sessions, I guess, to be more in tune with the WWE style. Why does Keith Lee have to do that and they never do that with Nia Jax?
Does it maybe that comes back to her relation with The Rock
But if it's all if the
and the
relation with
family.
okay, but if the relation with The Rock is protecting her, why didn't it protect her now when she's on a mental health break and taking time off because she's having mental health issues?
I think that was probably their out. In addition to the
Mm.
COVID issue that they had brought up, that's going around with her not following protocol or not getting vaccinated. I don't know which one it
We're
was,
gonna
but
get into that, but
yeah, but
is it
maybe
callous for
that's the reason.
WWE to fire her while she's on a mental health break?
Wouldn't be the first time that something like that happens.
So here I'm going to read her this. Here's a statement she posted on Instagram. When did she post this? She posted this 2 days
You have
ago.
that link?
So the day after. Yeah, here, I'll send it to you.
Send that to me so we could post that up.
So, okay, now there is, so basically what Mike is referring to, there is a rumor going around that 4 of the wrestlers, 4 of the 18 wrestlers who were released on Thursday, were having issues not being vaccinated. Now, last July, I read that the WWE instituted a mandate where you either have to get vaccinated or wear a mask backstage. So that is their COVID vaccination policy. Other than that, I don't know if the policy has changed. Obviously, I know Biden has that new mandate coming up where it says by January 4th, any company with 100 employees or more has to have everyone must be vaccinated. That's currently being argued in the courts right now, Michael. Now, the other thing is the wrestlers are not employees. And they're always touring all over the world. Like the home office is in Stamford, Connecticut, but on the road, you know, they're all around the country now because they're back on the road and they're touring again. So here's what Nia Jax said. Okay. I usually keep my personal life private, but yesterday's reports leave me with no option but to clarify matters. I recently took a short leave of absence from WWE for a mental health break. I've been working through so much, more than I can share, and I took some time with the full support of the company to take care of myself. Earlier this week, after WWE sent me my schedule to return to the ring for the November 15th show, I asked for an extension to my mental health break, feeling that I needed more time and hoping that I would have the ongoing support of the company I've given my all to for the past 7 years. I did not receive a response. The next I heard I was being released, my vaccination status was never mentioned. I wasn't given any choices or options. It breaks my heart to be so abruptly let go without consultation when dealing with so much privately. I love my career at WWE. I love the men and women I work with, and I am going to need some time to process this huge loss. I appreciate those people who have shown understanding and compassion during an incredibly difficult time. Okay, so was she treated fairly here, Mike?
In her words, after hearing her words, no.
Okay.
But they are contracted employees. They're not.
They're not. No, they're independent contractors.
Oh, independent contractors. Not.
Okay.
They're not employees of the company, so they could let them go whenever they feel right. Is it right? No.
Okay.
But they do have the right to do that.
Here's my thing on the vaccination thing. I don't mind if that's a rule, but I feel like it has to be clear.
Yeah.
I've done work at a place where the vaccination policy was clear. Okay? And they have not yet instituted a policy where they're saying if you don't get a vaccination, you're fired. It's not mandatory. But there are rules if you do not get vaccinated. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I just think if that is going to be the policy and standard, it has to be clear. And I don't think I'm being anti-vax for saying that, Mike.
Oh no. You're not.
Now, granted, I don't think Nia Jax did herself any favors when some months back she's posting, my God gave me my immune system, like I'm not getting something. She posted something weird like that some while back, didn't she?
Yeah, she did.
That was not a good idea for her to post that. And
yeah.
I know Sasha Banks has come under fire for some of her Instagram activity, but the fact that she went to Crown Jewel and wrestled at Crown Jewel suggests that she has been vaccinated. That has not been confirmed, but that is the prevailing belief. Let's see. Okay, so this was about a year ago. She posted something on her Instagram that said, "God made my immune system and I trust him the most." People don't post that on social media. Don't do that.
Yeah.
That's not a good idea, especially during a pandemic, okay?
Yeah.
Just keep that to yourself. If you have friends who will maybe like not give you a hard just keep it, don't even tell your friends. Keep it to yourself. You know? You don't need to put that out there. Right? I think we agree on that, right, Mike?
Yeah, I agree with you on that.
Okay. Now, here's another big one. Carrion Cross, another former NXT World Champion. I think he has a good case for corporate malpractice. I think he was sabotaged at every turn from the moment he made his Raw debut against Jeff Hardy and got jobbed in like a minute.
Yeah.
Vince McMahon was out to ruin this guy.
Yeah.
Carrion Cross looked like a total killer in NXT. He had a great entrance. He was paired with his real life girlfriend, now fiance, Scarlett Bordeaux. They had that great music, great atmosphere. He looked like a bulldozer in the ring. And then they put him on Raw, have him job to Jeff Hardy every week, and then they put him in that stupid moronic mask. Stupid. Just the stupidest garbage I've ever seen. I have not seen WWE sabotage and set up a guy for failure worse than Karrion Kross. And and I feel so bad that he had to suck it up and just smile and go with it. And it probably killed him inside that he had to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Your thoughts?
Well, I mean, look at his career outside of WWE. He came in with a great career already.
Yeah.
He was strong. He had a great career. Did he need to go to NXT? I don't think so, but but that's the way they do it, is they throw him into NXT to get to the WWE system and then move him up.
And he got over, and they pushed him hard.
And it was the best entrance that, like, if they would have taken that entrance from NXT and moved it to Raw or SmackDown, imagine the pop he would have got with that entrance as well, because that entrance was awesome. NXT did a good job of selling Karrion Kross.
And they took Scarlett away from him too. Scarlett was a big part of his act.
Yeah. And it's like
you look at Scarlett, I mean, look at this guy. Look at Scarlett. They look like they jumped out of a comic book, you know?
Yeah.
They look
and this is
WWE, this is what they're about. Larger than life characters, personalities. They have all of that. What is going on?
And I was listening to Busted Open Radio when they were debating this about Karrion Kross. Like, they throw him in a gladiator outfit. And even Mark Henry said, is there anything in the media and the movies and TV that right now that is gladiator related that's hot? Not
that I know of.
And they throw him into a gladiator outfit that was back from the early 2000s, 90s.
Do you remember when Ron Simmons debuted in WWE in like 1996? He had a Spartan gladiator outfit. So here we are 25 years later, and they're still doing the same old gimmick garbage, you know?
And who can you blame for that one?
I blame Vince. I think Vince is being petty. That Triple H lost the Wednesday Night Wars.
Yeah.
They lost the Wednesday Night Wars to AEW, and now I think Vince is like a petulant child, is breaking all of Triple H's toys. All the names from NXT on this, all the people who had great runs in NXT, who got over in NXT, who had great runs in NXT, who were NXT champions, are being crushed by Vince McMahon.
Yeah. I mean, how many of them are gone now?
A lot.
Yeah.
Here's the next one. Ember Moon, former NXT Women's Champion, NXT Women's Tag Team Champion. Ember Moon is a great wrestler. She did great on NXT. She was a great opponent for Asuka. Eventually became the NXT Women's Champion. Came to the main roster. Was on the main roster for a couple years. Floundered a little bit. Then they sent her back to NXT. Had a short-lived run as NXT Women's Champ with Shotzi Blackheart. Then they cut her from NXT. Here's my problem with this is the women's division on both shows is very thin right now. They have they have women's tag team champions, but no actual women's tag teams. They don't have enough depth for the women's division on Raw and SmackDown. So letting her go right now makes absolutely no sense. Especially here's the thing about Ember Moon. She's polished and knows how to work. Now, maybe BFAB from Hit Row, maybe she's green and doesn't work as well. Ember Moon is a veteran. Like she's been in the business. She's worked in the indies. She's been in Shimmer. She's been in NXT. She knows the WWE style. She can work and she doesn't hurt people. So why do you need people on main event? You need people on these other shows. Why do you not keep an Ember Moon? I don't get it.
And I don't get that either, because Ember Moon is a hard worker. She actually does some great work in the ring. They sent her back to NXT and she shined again on NXT. I don't if they're trying to, let's be honest here. I don't think they're trying to compete with AEW. I think they're just trying to make money as much they possibly can, because I will not be surprised that AEW or Impact picks her up, because I think she's going to shine in any other wrestling organization that's out there right off the bat. And with AEW having a lack of women and they're trying to build that women's division, an Ember Moon automatically moves up to the top.
All right, I just sent you what Ember Moon posted after she found out she was cut. It's very sad. When I saw this,
pull that up right now.
She wrote, all I can do is laugh.
Exactly. 1 second. Pulling it up. Sorry for my slowness here. There we go. Yeah,
and we got some news in the chat. I'm looking to confirm this right now.
Yeah, I haven't found anything. I saw the chat when you were talking. I was
I don't see anything. We're not going to talk about. We need more confirmation on that. I'm not gonna.
We need facts.
Yeah.
Rumors are rumors, but we go by facts. So sorry, everybody.
I'm looking at.
Yeah, but when you look at, but I agree with you with BFAB. BFAB was new, kind of green, kind of it makes hit row. But I mean, sorry, I understand if they release her. Ember Moon, that's a different story.
Okay, so let's see. Let's continue down the list.
Yeah. Eva Marie.
All right. Eva Marie. I don't know. They just brought her back a few months ago.
Why?
And she clearly wasn't any better in the ring. What is going on here?
Oh, and then the best thing about it is that they hyped her up so much. And then she comes back, and all she was an introduction for Doudrop. That's pretty much what her whole time there was.
No offense to Eva Marie, but she's not a wrestler. Okay?
No, she's not.
All these years later, she didn't get any better in the ring.
Mm-hmm.
And I think some men and women just aren't cut out to be pro wrestlers or WWE superstars.
Yeah.
She has a great look. Okay, I don't deny that. And I've interviewed Eva Marie, and I think she's a nice lady.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't think she knows how to be a wrestler and can't do it in the ring. So I don't get what the point was of you re-signed her during the pandemic. So already at that point, they're already cutting a lot of people last year.
Right.
You're letting a lot of people go last year. So I just don't get what they thought was going to happen.
And I agree with you.
I don't get it.
Yeah, and I agree with you. Eva Marie's really nice. I interviewed her at Knott's Berry Farm for their breast cancer event. Really nice person, was willing to talk and really share about her experiences and everything like that. And great person, but she wasn't a wrestler. She wasn't a model. Yes, actress possibly. Wrestler, no. I don't see that. Whereas
I think she's going to do okay because she's already got another movie she's doing with Neil McDonough.
Yeah, she'll be fine.
she'll get stuff to do, and
Mhm.
she's a big social media influencer. She's
Yeah.
gonna be all right.
Yeah. The one who I think I'm shocked about,
Mm-hmm.
really shocked that because she's only been in there for a short time is Frankie Monet.
Okay, so yes, Frankie Monet. Ty, also known as
Hi,
Ty
Valkyrie.
Valkyrie, veteran superstar, has wrestled all over the world, became a big star in Mexico, wrestled
Yeah.
in Lucha Underground, wrestled in Impact Wrestling, knows how to work, knows how to
Mhm.
wrestle. Looked like she was on the cusp of doing big things in NXT. Had a few with Raquel Gonzalez.
Mhm.
What is wrong with Frankie Monet? I don't like it.
See,
I
I
don't get
don't
it.
get it. I don't get it either. She was a one-time women's champion in Impact Wrestling.
Yeah,
It looked like they were kind of have her fight for the belt with Raquel Gonzalez.
yeah.
You could have seen what was coming, and I don't know what happened or why they just let her go. Even Ty Valkyrie was kind of like Frankie Monet posted Ty Valkyrie, like she's going back to her old name.
It's weird because they repackaged her. They gave her a new name. They gave her the the WWE NXT style gimmick,
Mhm.
and then it looks like they're pushing her, and then they get rid of her. I mean, I don't even get how someone like Taya Valkyrie, how Frankie Monet is getting paid too much, but
Yeah,
and
exactly, and that's
I'm sure a big reason she
Mhm.
went to NXT is because her husband
Mhm.
John Morrison is on the WWE roster right now, but
Yeah,
uh,
and we both
maybe they're gonna get rid of him too
yeah,
sooner or later.
exactly, and we both talked to her not too long ago, about 2 years
Yeah,
ago. Yeah,
at the
for
Impact press event. Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. And you could tell like she's into this business. She loves it. Like she loves everything about it.
yeah.
And she works hard. Now you're telling me that she's with too much money? See, and this is the whole thing. Like if I'm a pro wrestler, why would I sign with WWE right now? Tell me, please, why?
When I think about look at Adam Cole.
Mhm.
Adam Cole became a free agent, had that huge run in NXT. Was from the moment he got into NXT, from the moment he left, he was one of the top 5 guys in NXT.
Yeah.
He did not take WWE's offer.
Mm-mm.
He got out while the getting was good. He got to
Mhm.
step in because he knew the writing was on the wall.
Yep.
Triple H is out of power now. At least out of power in NXT. And now, I I don't frankly, I don't even know what role Triple H serves in WWE these days.
Do you think let's pose a question right now since you brought that up.
Okay.
Do you think Triple H is on the block of getting released or getting fired?
See, because Triple H is an actual executive.
Yeah.
So his contract is not going to be the same as a talent contract, as a wrestler contract.
Yeah.
His contract is not going to be like a Keith Lee's or a Carrion Cross or a Frankie Monet's. Like he's an actual employee of the company.
Mhm.
So that's going to be different than whatever everyone else who's getting cut has. But I can't believe that Triple H is seeing all this with NXT and seeing like all the stars he built, all the champions he built, are
Mhm.
getting crushed and just discarded like this, and him being okay with that.
Will he leave the company? Will he quit
I
after
don't think
seeing everything that he
I don't
built torn to shreds?
I've thought about that. I've thought about that. I don't think he will.
Mm.
Um,
Because
because
for
he's
me, this is the way I look at it.
okay,
If you work so hard to build up a brand, which he
right?
did,
Yeah,
NXT was actually even getting
it's his
their
baby.
shows were their shows were better than Raw and SmackDown
Yeah,
sometimes. You build up, you bring in some great talent who really work hard, really put in the time,
hmm
and then it gets all destroyed. All your hard work gets pretty much changed and thrown into the trash. To me, it's a disrespectful thing. It's a disrespect thing. I don't think it's a money thing at that point because if they were making money and they had a better show than the main roster. I think there's a lot to it, and I think it's just the fact that somebody got into his ear, and I think it's Nick Khan got into Vince McMahon's ear and said, we need to keep the brands all the same. NXT was different. It was unique, different style wrestler, different style wrestling. There's more excitement to it. A lot of fans liked it better.
I wonder, Triple H was the one who kind of made NXT into, Jason Solomon called it a super indie. I wonder if that was maybe, I wonder if that was a mistake. Because I wonder if he maybe set up those guys for failure. All these guys with indie backgrounds, with indie experience, which, for a while surprised a lot of fans, because it's like, WWE normally doesn't focus and chase after guys like this.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I don't think Triple H would leave WWE over this, but in terms of his pride, I agree. It's got to feel bad. He can't be happy. I can't see how he's happy about this.
But also, too, I think
this was his legacy.
Yeah.
This was his baby.
But also, too, I think Triple H had an eye for what wrestling is moving forward, and saw what is exciting fans today.
Okay.
Whereas in the past, you had these big old muscle guys who are like comic book characters,
right?
Way over the top.
Then you have Carrion Cross, who, even though he's a big dude, knows how to work.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't get it.
Yeah. Where like you look at guys like Adam Cole, the Young Bucks, Flip Gordon, friggin' Finn Balor. The guys who are those guys
are 90s. Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart were considered little guys.
Yeah.
They were in the eyes of Kevin Nash, they were vanilla midgets.
Mm-hmm.
And they carried WWE through the 90s.
Right.
And help them get back to you had Stone in the Attitude Era, you had Stone Cold and The Rock, but if you didn't have Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels, they might not have even gotten through the early part of the Monday Night Wars, frankly. Okay, yeah. And then you have Braun Breaker, you have Bronson Rick Steiner's son.
Mm-hmm.
You have the big muscle-bound comic book character, but then you name him Braun Breaker. What the hell is Braun Breaker, Michael? Braun Breaker. Like,
I don't know.
Name I've ever heard. Braun Breaker. What is he? A circuit breaker? Is he a professional circuit breaker? What is a Braun Breaker?
I do not have a clue, but to be honest, as soon as I saw him, I knew he was a Steiner. You're not fooling the audience who has watched wrestling for a long time.
Scott Steiner. He has Scott Steiner's voice. He looks like Rick. Like, what are we doing here?
You put the wrestling ear protection on his head, and he looks like his dad.
He talks like Scott Steiner.
Yes.
What are we pulling? This is the point. Like, it's like Bruce Pritchard thinks we're all idiots. Terry Taylor thinks he's the cock of the walk. I'm gonna name him the Red Rooster because he's got a pep in his step. He likes the ladies. He's a rooster, a red rooster. Hey Nathan, thank you for coming. We're talking about WWE releases. Okay.
Yeah.
BFAB, Hit Row. All of Hit Row just got drafted from NXT to SmackDown, and they've already cut BFAB.
Yeah.
BFAB, Brian Alvarez reported that just before she got cut, BFAB signed a new contract. So those contracts, you want to sign a WWE contract, folks. You think it's good, they will get rid of you like that.
All I say is make sure you get your money up front first when you sign.
Okay, so
it may not be there that long.
Okay, Davey Boy Smith Jr. Speaking of legacy wrestlers, Davey Boy Smith Jr., Harry Smith, the son of the late WWE Hall of Famer, the British Bulldog, Davey Boy Smith. They brought him back. He re-signed. He had like that one little promo on YouTube. He worked a dark match, and then we never saw him again.
Mm-hmm.
Why did they even re-sign Davey Boy Smith Jr.?
I'm gonna start a controversy and let's see if it sticks.
Okay.
What if Vince McMahon got back at the family because they did the Owen Hart thing with AEW?
Oh. Well, because when did they re-up?
I'm just saying, but
That did.
would it shock me? No.
Let's see. Because I guess that was after they re-signed him. Well, it wouldn't shock. I don't want to put that out there, but it wouldn't shock me just because we know WWE can hold petty grudges.
Yeah.
Maybe not in the long term, but they do. Okay, and also Mia Yim, former NXT superstar, engaged to Keith Lee in real life, was recently part of Retribution, was Reckoning. You could tell that stupid mask. You could tell it was her.
Mhm.
Had that incident where she had a seizure on Raw. That was awful. I feel so bad for Mia Yim. I feel so awful for her.
Another one who had a great career prior to being on WWE.
She is another wrestler, experienced, knows how to work, has put the time in. Good, she's an experienced veteran. Looks like $1 million in the ring.
Mhm.
If there are two wrestlers, I hope AEW picks up. It's Mia Yim and Ember Moon. Just because the women's division could, now that they have like another women's title coming up, I think they could really use workers like that. Okay, this is probably you're probably going to be interested in these two: Gran Metalik and Lince Dorado, the Luchadors.
Lucha House Party.
Yeah,
Yeah, I already knew they were gonna. They were already asking for their release.
Gran Metalik had already asked for his release before,
Mhm.
like a couple months ago.
Yeah.
So this one is not so surprising. Gran
Mm-mm.
Metalik, he's probably one of the few who's happy about his release.
Yeah.
Now, Fightful reported Lince Dorado did not ask for his release.
Hmm.
So he's probably less happy about this news.
From what I heard, he was not happy with where he was at WWE, and he was about to ask for his release as well.
I can believe.
Yeah. I think they beat him to the punch on that one.
Okay, so let's see. Other names include Trey Baxter, Oney Lorcan, a former NXT Tag Team Champion. Oney Lorcan, he asked for his release before the pandemic in like late 2019. So he was wanting out a couple years ago. Had that kind of run with Danny Burch and Pat McAfee on NXT. I mean, Oney Lorcan, also known as Biff Busick, good wrestler. I think he hit his ceiling in WWE. He's a good wrestler, but they were never going to do anything else with him. So I think for Biff Busick, this could be good for him because now he'll in a few months he'll be free to work wherever he wants, and I'm sure guys will be looking to get him booked on their shows.
Well, isn't the NXT release like their non-complete different from the main roster?
Not for Lorcan, not for Biff Busick. Let's see, because he talked about this.
Okay.
Oney Lorcan says he had a main roster contract and a 90-day no complete clause. He put this on his YouTube. So basically what Mike is referring to, some wrestlers, if you're on the NXT roster and you have an NXT contract, if you get released, you're on a 30-day non-compete clause. If you're a main roster wrestler and you get released, you're on a 90-day non-compete clause.
Yeah.
Even though Oney Lorcan was part of the NXT roster, he said he had a main roster contract. So now, just so everyone knows, even though like they're not free agents for 30 days, 90 days, WWE still has to pay them during that time period. So it's not terrible that they have a non-compete period because they're still getting paid for that 90 days, 30 days.
It's only terrible for WWE because they have to keep that on the books until that 90 days are up.
Right. Trey Baxter, Katrina Cortez, Jesse Camilla, Jeet Rama, Zeta Ramirez. Those names are not surprising to me.
Yeah.
Especially Jeet Rama. Now, Fightful reported Jeet Rama was mainly because the pandemic has sort of halted WWE's global expansion into territories like India and things like that. And that was the main motivation, I guess, behind hiring Jeet Rama. who's 40 years old, and they just didn't see much of a future in him. So, but to me, the biggest surprises here: Carrion Cross, Scarlett, Keith Lee, Ember Moon, Nia Jax, Mia Yim. Not so surprising so much as these are people they should not be cutting. Now, okay, supposedly there are 4 wrestlers who refuse to get vaccinated. I don't know what the WWE vaccination policy is as of November 2021. I think if they had a vaccination policy, it should have been clear. I don't know what, but look, if the wrestlers aren't going to unionize and they're not going to fight for their rights, I think that's partially their responsibility, you know?
Yeah.
But, and I think for there to be a wrestling union or whatever, it has to be at every level.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, look, if Braun Strowman isn't safe, if Bray Wyatt isn't safe, I don't think Becky Lynch is safe. I don't think Charlotte Flair is safe.
I think
right
all
now.
of them, except for possibly Roman Reigns, is not safe.
I don't think Randy Orton is safe. I don't think AJ Styles is safe.
No, and I have a feeling, since we've already gone an hour just on WWE, I have a feeling there's going to be more releases coming before the end of the year. There'll be one more small. It won't be as big. I don't think it's going to be 18, but I think there'll be some releases in December.
I mean, if you're going to release people over Thanksgiving and Christmas, like WTF, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But it just seems this has been happening routinely every few months. So
yeah, this isn't the end. There will be more.
71 this year alone.
Mm-hmm.
And I lost count of how many got let go last year.
Yeah.
But it's basically enough to fill 2 rosters.
Yeah.
But it's crazy.
I think that's a good transition into Ring of Honor.
Okay, so
what's going on with them?
So Ring of Honor is basically Ring of Honor as we know it is dead. They are still conducting some TV tapings at the moment, but after Final Battle in December, Ring of Honor is going to go on hiatus until April. But in that time, they're going to look for a new strategy and they're going to be pivoting on their presentation. The plan is for them to come back in April with Supercard of Honor during WrestleMania weekend. But who knows if they'll even be able to come back. So their parent company, Sinclair Broadcasting Group, they're losing money right now. And I guess Ring of Honor was losing money. Ring of Honor, they were hit hard by this pandemic, Mike, and it looks like they were just never able to recover. And I don't know if this is it for ROH, but it does not look good.
I can literally say with Sinclair Media, they're not bringing them back. Either they're going to sell.
You think come April, ROH
it's
is
done.
Gone.
It's done. Unless they sell them to somebody else, it's over for Ring of Honor.
The word is their tape library is already available for sale.
There you go.
And you want to know what's in their tape library?
What is it? Please.
All Out. All Out. The original All Out event. Or no.
There you go.
All In, excuse me.
All In.
All In. The first All In. The precursor to AEW.
Mm-hmm.
ROH produced the show. They own the video rights for the first All In. So why do you think they're not coming back for Supercard of Honor?
Sinclair isn't going to put the money in. If they already saw that they're losing money, they're not going to do it. I mean, you look at the stations that they own and you look at what they've done in the past and the way the company structure is, they're not bringing them back.
Here's one thing we have to credit ROH for. They shut down during the pandemic. So they said we're not gonna even run shows through this part of the pandemic. When they came back, they were very well oiled. Like they had they put the health and safety of their workers first when they did come back. Now, unfortunately, they had to pay. They continue paying all their workers.
Yeah.
During the shutdown. Unfortunately, they were not able to recover because of that. But through that time, they did their best to put the health and safety of the workers first. So I will credit ROH for that. Unfortunately, it's just sad. ROH has been around since 2002. They've had their ups and downs. A lot of the top stars in the business got their, start in ROH, or maybe not their start, like they became stars and became well known through Ring of Honor. I found out about Samoa Joe, CM Punk, Bryan Danielson, many others, all because of Ring of Honor. That was like my first AJ Styles. That was Christopher Daniels. That are like the old NWA TNA days. That was like my first point of reference for most of those guys.
Yeah, same here. I mean, a lot of, even with like the Young Bucks.
Oh yeah.
And seeing the Bullet Club coming from Japan, going to Ring of Honor.
Yep.
I mean, that's where you've got your first taste. I mean, you look at the guys now. Switchblade Jay White was wrestling in Ring of Honor at one point, and it's like that's where you got your Fin Juice.
Without Ring of Honor, there might not be an AEW either.
Exactly. Now, with everybody being released, do you think AEW is looking? Because to me, I think
there are a few guys that'll look to pick up.
Yeah, because I think AEW is going to look at a majority of the guys, and they're going to be like, okay, like Marty Scurll. I wouldn't be surprised.
No, Marty Scurll is not with Ring of Honor anymore.
Oh, he's not. He's gone. Oh shoot! That's how.
Hashtag speaking up.
Oh,
he got. That's why he's not in Ring of Honor anymore. It's because he had an incident during. But he did. When AEW was happening, he stuck with Ring of Honor, and they gave him a big contract. But then it all went to hell once those allegations against him came out. Here's one: Roxy, the women's champion. Just because they need more talented women and more strong women's wrestlers to fill out the women's wrestlers, especially now that they have the TBS women's title.
Do you think Flip Gordon is going to AEW? Finally?
I don't know. I think he could be. I mean, I think he could be a guy they could pick up. I think we'll see.
And then what about the Briscoe brothers?
I would not mind. I would not mind seeing them. I mean, FTR already tweeted they want to wrestle them. So,
and I think they need more tag teams on the AEW as well.
Yeah, they could use the Briscoe brothers a little bit, and but let's see. I want to look. Let's go. Yeah. So the word is that Ring of Honor has released most of their wrestlers will no longer be under contract at the end of December. Though some of them will still be on contract. Let's see. Bandito, I think would be a good pickup. Brody King. What do you think about Danhausen? It's more of a gimmick.
Yeah,
it's more of a novelty act.
Yeah, I wouldn't pick him up.
Dalton Castle.
I think Dalton Castle's good for Impact Wrestling.
Okay.
I don't know about AEW.
Dragon Lee.
Impact.
Jason Lee. Jay Lethal.
Jay Lethal?
Yeah.
He's the tough one. He really is a tough one. Because it's like he does really well with the crowd. But
has a lot of experience. Would be funny to have him versus what's his why am I sorry for any language, but I forgot what his name is. Okay.
Ric Flair's soon to be son-in-law.
Oh, Andrade,
the Idolo. That would be funny to have him come back, and he used to have his Ric Flair gimmick.
Or he could do Machismo.
Yeah.
Macho Man gimmick.
Yeah.
Jonathan Gresham.
Nah.
Okay. Maybe not prime time ready.
Nuh-uh.
Flamita. Another luchador, mass wrestler.
Nah,
Okay.
no.
Let's see. Maria. What about Maria Kanellis and Mike Bennett?
Impact.
Okay.
They just seem like they'll fit better on Impact for some reason.
Former ROH World Champion Matt Taven.
He could do AEW.
Okay.
I think it would be interesting to put in there. But then here's the problem. AEW has a lot of people that they have on the roster already.
Roosh. Roosh is someone I want them to pick
Yeah.
up.
Yeah, AEW for sure.
Shane Taylor.
Shane Taylor. Impact.
Okay. The thing is, Impact is not a big promotion, though. You know.
No, but I think
they're
they
not
can.
drawing, and they're not drawing major viewership. How much? Even though, who owns Impact now? Who's the parent company?
Impact is owned by
The Owl.
But what?
The Owl Company. What is it called? I'm blanking on the name.
I know, me too.
Subsidiary. Anthem Sports.
Anthem Sports.
Yeah, Canadian company.
Mm-hmm.
So, how much money does Anthem have, and can they afford to pick up some of these wrestlers?
They probably don't have the money. They're gonna if they want to bring up anything, I think they're gonna have to rebrand.
Here's my thing about Impact. Like, they have Impact Plus. They are selling. Like, they do a little bit of touring. Like, they've just started letting live fans back in for the pay-per-views and the tapings. But how much are they really making on ticket sales and stuff like that? You know, are they exactly. Is Anthem really making enough money with Impact? Are they making more than what SBG was making with ROH at the time they're doing this hiatus? You know?
Yeah.
I just don't know.
What's funny is that they still always find a way to survive.
Impact has, even though they changed the name of the company.
Yeah.
Ring of Honor has had moments like that too. It's sad though, just because of the company's history. They have had their ups and downs, but like, there have been moments where, you know, I remember I went to WrestleMania 25 in 2009 at Reliance Stadium. I did the ROH shows that week, and I think I had more fun just in terms of the in-ring action. I think was better at the ROH shows that week than WWE at WrestleMania, other than maybe Shawn Michaels versus The Undertaker. Yeah, Davey Richards versus Kenta. And then you also had Jerry Lynn versus Nigel McGuinness. Jerry Lynn won the ROH World Title that night. Bryan Danielson worked both those shows. And then Roderick Strong was still in Ring of Honor at that time. So yeah, it's a little sad because, you know, again, without Ring of Honor, I don't think there is an AEW, frankly.
Yeah. And
there's definitely no CM Punk.
Yeah. And look at with Impact, for example, just to go another organization. All their TV tapings that are going on for this month are all in Las Vegas. Turning Points in Las Vegas. They have November 21st and 22nd are AXS TV tapings in Las Vegas.
Okay.
And then they go to Dallas, Texas for Hard to Kill.
So they're touring a little bit, but they're probably not making a ton of money on touring.
No. That's why. Let me see how much are tickets to go to a TV taping for
Access. You would go to access.com.
Oh, I'm already there.
Okay.
For November. Well, that was for the pay-per-view. Let me go.
So here's Hard to Kill.
Yeah, November 21st, TV taping. $20 general admission. Gold Circle standing admission, $30 each. Front row general admission, $50.
That's a fraction of like a WWE ticket.
Oh yeah.
So they can't be making that much money on tickets, even if they're selling out.
Right, but if you do want to go see wrestling and you're in the Las Vegas area, for front row general admission for $50 is actually a good price.
Yeah, it's a good deal if you want.
Yeah, for WWE, you're spending easily in the hundreds, sometimes
Okay,
more.
so here's another important story I wanted to talk about.
Okay.
Last week, we found out that Jon Moxley is taking
Mhm.
some time away from AEW. He's stepping away from the business right now. Tony Khan announced that Jon Moxley is entering an inpatient program for alcohol treatment. And he just released a book, biography on his life called Mox. I did not know he was dealing with this, and I'm very happy to hear he's getting help. You know, when you have a problem like this, the best thing you can do is admit you have a problem and start getting help. And I'm glad Jon Moxley is taking these steps. The wrestling business right now, I mean, the wrestling business at any time, Mike, it's hard enough without an addiction.
Yeah.
And to be battling an addiction like alcoholism while being in the wrestling business, while trying to be a top star, along with having, a family, a wife, and a newborn daughter, it's bad.
Yeah.
So the fact that he's taking time, I'm very happy, and I have such respect that he's admitted he has a problem and he's doing the work. And I hope he does the work. Don't even think about wrestling. Take his time. He needs to take as much time as he needs and focus on getting on top of this, because when you have an addiction like this, there's always the danger of relapsing. But
Yeah.
when you heard this news, what was your reaction?
I was shocked. I was shocked that he did come out and say that, which I'm glad that he got the help. I'm glad that he stood up, said he needed help, and did it. And it looks like AEW and Tony Khan are supporting him 100%, which is always good, because I think that's going to be. I hope he takes the time, takes as much time as he needs. I mean, we don't need to see him back anytime soon. He has a daughter now.
AEW is going to be
So,
fine.
yeah, yeah, he has a
Worry
his
about
more.
worry about getting well. Worry
Yeah,
about your family.
that
Don't
exactly.
don't worry about it. Don't. We're gonna AEW is gonna be fine. They're gonna be
Yeah,
fine.
exactly. His family is what's most important, especially now that he has a little child. I think that's where wrestling is secondary when it comes to that, and his health is primary.
Take 2 years off.
Yeah,
Moxley's 35 years old. At 35, Moxley has done more in his life than most people will ever do in their entire lives. Because think
yeah,
about this.
yeah,
He is a WWE champion. He's been a main eventer in WWE. He's a former AEW world champion. He's written a book. He's a published
mhm,
author. He's made fans all over the world. He's wrestled in New Japan and held a title in New Japan. Like he has been everywhere and done it all, and he's still wanting to do more. So he is a very unique individual. He has
yeah,
nothing to be ashamed of. The only shame would be if he wasn't trying to get help and if he continued on a downward spiral. Just because you look at a tragedy like Brian Pillman, a guy who was a pioneer in the business and was responsible for so many things we know about wrestling today, and unfortunately did not get that help and was not able to conquer his demons, and died of a young man and left a family behind. So I don't want to see something like that happen. I don't want to see Moxley become another statistic. So um I'm glad I think what Punk said about him on Dynamite last week was perfect,
yeah,
and he said really everything that needed to be said. So
mhm,
I'm glad Moxley is getting this. I'm glad he's admitted to the problem and he's putting this first. He's putting his life and his family first, and he's doing the right thing. This is the
yeah,
right thing to do. This is more important than pro wrestling. A lot of things are more important than pro wrestling. I have such great respect that he's taking he's taking time away from the business. There is no shame in that at all.
yeah, exactly. I agree with you 100%.
So, Moxley, I wish him all the best and I hope he gets well soon.
Yeah,
Okay. Any thoughts on we got Full Gear coming up this Saturday? Any
yeah.
thoughts on Full Gear right now?
I think it's going to be a very interesting pay-per-view.
So
I'm looking forward to seeing it.
yeah.
I'm not going to be able to see it because
Mhm.
we have an event that day. But if I was able to, I'd be looking forward to seeing this pay per view because it looks.
All Out was one of the best shows I've seen
Yeah.
this year, and I went to SummerSlam live,
Hmm.
and I think
Yeah.
All Out might have been a better show.
Yeah.
So we just got CM Punk versus Eddie Kingston.
Hmm.
Now I got to give AEW credit because that promo with Punk and Kingston to set this match up was amazing. That
Yeah.
was dynamite, and so now we have this match booked for Full Gear, and that looks awesome.
Hmm.
Did you see that promo on Rampage they had?
I saw the promo.
Badass.
It was good. It was so good.
Okay, we're finally getting Kenny Omega versus Hangman Page.
Hmm.
Love that match. I think Hangman has to win here.
I think so too. If he doesn't win, I'm not going to be shocked. But I think he needs to get the belt this time.
If he loses, to me, he only loses because they're trying to drag out the feud.
Yeah.
Which I feel like I feel like they've been building to this moment for like really ever since Double or Nothing when Hangman won the Casino Battle Royal.
Hmm.
I feel like they've kind of been seeding this ever since Hangman joined AEW, sort of, and it's been 2 years. They had the tag team title run with him and Omega. I feel like they've been building this all since that time. And I feel like he kind of has to win here.
Yeah,
Just
and
to
I think
kind of pay
I
all
think
this off.
I think what's going to determine who wins the match for me is going to be who wins between Bryan Danielson and Miro.
Okay.
Because if Miro wins, I have a feeling Hangman wins. If Danielson wins, Omega wins. 'Cause I think they would,
Okay.
because of the matchups.
Yeah. So Bryan Danielson versus Miro in the title eliminator.
Hmm.
I think Danielson is going to win here.
Okay.
What do you think?
I think Danielson's going to win as well, which means that I think Hangman isn't going to win. 'Cause I think they want to have a match between Danielson and Omega. I mean, I hate to say it, but I think it's what they want. If they're going to match up a card, that's how they're going to match up the card.
Okay. I'm predicting. You know what? I'm going to predict Miro.
Oh.
Because that would be a great. Because if Hangman wins, and I want Hangman to win, that would be a great first opponent. That would be a like. Because they've kept Miro fairly, other than Guevara, he hasn't had many losses in AEW, has he?
No, he hasn't.
So let's see. Has he lost to anyone else? I want to check the rankings of AEW.
Yeah.
I think because in AEW they actually have win-loss records, believe it or not.
Exactly. What they're for, I really do not know. But they have rankings.
They're for this from what I want to check. Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, his only loss is to Guevara, so they've kept him fairly fresh and strong.
Mhm.
So I would be fine for that as a world title matchup. And you could still do, even if Danielson and Omega lose, you could still do that matchup somewhere.
Yeah.
Okay, for the women's title, Britt Baker versus Tay Conti. Now is not the time for Britt Baker to lose the title.
Nuh-uh.
You got to do that feud with Thunder Rosa. Britt Baker wins.
I agree. Because like I say, it's November 2021. Next month, we're giving our best matches of 2021. Yeah.
Okay.
Thunder Rosa and Britt Baker is still, to this day, my number one match of the year.
Okay. And supposedly, like Meltzer reported, that's going to be the big match for next year.
Mhm.
The Inner Circle versus Men of the Year. So we have Jericho, Jake Hager, Guevara, Santana, and Ortiz versus Paige and Scorpio and the American Top Team members, Junior Dos Santos, Andre Arlovsky, and Dan Lambert himself. I'm not a big fan of this feud, but now that like the Inner Circle has gotten involved, it's not as bad as it was when Dan Lambert was just renting like Jim Cornette. It'll be a 10-man tag street fight. I think Inner Circle's going to win this one because you already have Men of the Year beat them earlier. So yeah, I think they're gonna pin Dan Lambert in this one.
Yeah, I agree.
I didn't like that promo on Dynamite though with Paige Van Zandt.
Oh no, I didn't like it.
That was really.
But it was funny as
Oh
all hell.
God.
It was so because I mean,
When Dan Lambert's screeching,
like
it's kind of funny, but
Mhm.
when Paige was on the microphone, I was not
well, with
enjoying it.
Jericho, it's pretty much it was a softball. Literally, like he said, it was a softball waiting to be hit.
Yes.
So won't repeat it, but it was a softball.
I'm not gonna say what it was.
Yeah.
It was LC. It was lowest common denominator stuff.
Yeah.
The Lucha Brothers versus FTR. This is for the World Tag Team titles. I'm glad the FTR is feuding. They're finally feuding with the Lucha Bros. This is a great matchup.
Yeah.
FTR won the AAA Tag Team titles from the Lucha Bros. So now it's for the Lucha Bros AEW Tag Team titles. So what do you think here? Does the Lucha Bros get some revenge here, or does FTR become double champs?
The Lucha Bros get revenge. It's too
Okay.
soon to take the belts off of them, I think.
Okay. Okay. Big time grudge match here. Darby Allen versus MJF.
That
I
one's
think
hard.
MJF. I'm picking MJF.
I think so too, but it could go either way.
I like the matchup though.
I like the matchup as well, and especially the way they've been building it up.
I would also, as an opponent, as a future opponent for Hangman, I would like that matchup with MJF.
Yeah.
Like here's fantasy booking. I would have MJF win, hold the title for a few months. Then I would have MJF win the title and be champion for like 2 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
Be the Ric Flair type of champion.
And I think he would actually love you for saying that.
I love MJF too.
So there you go.
All right, thank you, MJF. CM Punk versus Eddie Kingston. I think Punk is pretty much going to win here.
Yeah, it's a Punk win.
Okay, and finally we have the Super Click versus Christian and Jurassic Express. What do you think?
I think Super Click, but by the way things are going and what happened on Dynamite, or was it Rampage?
I think that's going to be the hot. I think that's going to be the hot opener, and the baby faces are going to win.
Yeah,
but I wouldn't. It wouldn't surprise me if you. I think you could go either or on that one. All right, so let's go now. Let's also run down Survivor Series. So that'll be 2 weeks later on November 21st. So here's what we have so far. We already have the teams: Team Raw versus Team SmackDown in a 5-on-5 men's elimination match. Seth Rollins, Finn Balor, Kevin Owens, Rey and Dominic Mysterio versus Team SmackDown: Drew McIntyre, Jeff Hardy, King Woods, Sami Zayn, and Happy Corbin. I mean, it's an elimination match.
So when they eliminate them, will they be out of WWE for good? Just saying. It is possible.
The way at this rate, it's very possible. Seth Rollins is not safe.
Nuh-uh.
Like if Nia Jax is not safe because everyone thought she was protected because of her being a cousin of The Rock all these years, then what makes you think Seth, the Monday Night Messiah, is safe? He ain't, folks. He's not. But
if Raw wins, you save your jobs. If you don't, you're out.
and then Nick Khan will still give you a pink slip.
Exactly.
Probably. This
Good
one's
work.
Gonna be at
Here's
the
the pink slip.
Barclays. This one's going to be at the Barclays Center in New York, by the way.
Yeah.
I don't really have any strong thoughts on who's going to win this match.
No.
Over on Team Raw, Bianca Belair, Rhea Ripley, Liv Morgan, Carmella, and Queen Zelina for Team Raw versus Team SmackDown. Sasha Banks, Shayna Baszler, Shotzi, Natalya, and Aaliyah. I'm surprised Aaliyah hasn't gotten fired, frankly.
Oh, I know.
The way they've been getting rid of everybody.
Exactly. But I think SmackDown wins.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know why Bianca Belair and Rhea Ripley are in this. That's strange. Damian Priest versus Shinsuke Nakamura. I think the only reason I mean, wouldn't it be funny if they cut Shinsuke Nakamura next week and like, wait, who's the Intercontinental Champion?
Exactly. We're gonna have a tournament again. One night.
Because I mean, they fired Aleister Black after they started doing vignettes from him, and they brought him back, and he assaulted Big E, and then they cut him like a week later.
Yeah.
Remember that? Like,
Yep.
seriously? Like, you could have cut this guy was sitting at home for months, and you never cut this guy. And then you brought him back and started booking him on TV and booked a feud with him, and and then you cut him. So, not that I want Nakamura to get cut, but I mean, this is where we are right now with WWE. I think Damian Priest is going to win this.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, so also for Raw Tag Champs versus SmackDown Tag Champs, RK Bro versus the Usos. I think the Usos got this.
Yeah, and there'll be some interference.
Okay, Becky Lynch versus Charlotte Flair, champ versus champ. Now let's get into that whole do you remember that whole incident with the title swap with Charlotte and Becky on SmackDown?
Yeah, I saw it.
Do you think that was a shoot or what? What do you think?
I don't know. I really don't know, but it looked like it was. It looked like it was real.
So the story is that Charlotte Flair like dropping the belt was like off script. Was her going off script. Supposedly they went to the back and Becky Lynch got in Charlotte's face and got really angry and pissed. And then WWE officials got Charlotte to leave. So she wasn't there when Becky got back after her dark match.
Yeah.
So do you think there's some genuine heat here?
I think so. I don't know why. Like recently, ever since that whole thing with her not being a part of WrestleMania or SummerSlam, I forgot which one she wasn't a part of.
It was
SummerSlam.
It was WrestleMania.
WrestleMania.
She won the title back from.
Yeah, that's true. SummerSlam, she was there. WrestleMania, I think there's still some heated. I think to her, in her mind, there's still some controversy in there with WWE, and I think I wouldn't be surprised if what's his name? Why in the world is he El Idolo? Alberto Andrade.
Yeah.
I don't know why his name has been out of my mind during the show. I have something that says like, hey, he's talking to her about her coming over. Like, hey, if anything goes wrong, I'm sure they'll bring you in.
I was surprised when she released that statement after what happened with WrestleMania. She seemed I don't know if there's like a I never imagined this, but I wonder if there's like a rift between WWE and Charlotte Flair right now.
I wouldn't be surprised, even with that interview that they did.
Supposedly, Charlotte was not happy about that title swap thing.
Yeah.
It made her. She expressed her the rumor is, like from Fightful and Observer, that she was not happy throughout the day and expressed her disappointment in the whole title swap. But I mean, I don't know what you were gonna do when you had both the women drafted to different shows and they both were champion. They didn't take the title off of either of them. Like, what else can you do? You know,
Exactly.
other than not draft them.
And it isn't the first time they had to do this because of the draft that they had to do.
They did it with I think they did it with like Lesnar and Bray Wyatt, didn't they?
Yeah, they did.
But they didn't do like a hey, give me your title. Yeah. They didn't do it like it was done more like unconventionally.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so then what else? Biggie versus Roman Reigns. That's a good matchup at least.
Yeah.
Roman Reigns is going to win, but it'll be good.
Exactly. And they were saying like would be I was listening because I was listening to Wrestlers Radio before we went on the air. And I guess they're going to say supposedly the rumor is that The Rock and Roman Reigns is going to be saved till LA WrestleMania.
Okay, so that's Survivor Series November 21st, Brooklyn, New York. Okay, so next year, interestingly enough, next year WWE released their big 2022 pay-per-view schedule.
Hmm.
I wanted to get into that a little bit too.
Okay, definitely.
WrestleMania is going to be 2 nights again. What do you think about that? In Dallas.
It's going to be interesting to see how they do it this year. I think it worked. I think it was okay
Mm-hmm.
this year, but it was because of what went on last year with the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what it's going to be like, and if they'll have enough.
Sold out crowd.
Will they have enough of a roster to do 2 nights?
That's a good point.
So I don't know.
That's a good point. Do they even need 2 nights?
Exactly.
Maybe they can get Roman Reigns to wrestle on 2 nights.
Maybe.
So it'll be April 3rd and 2nd in Dallas,
Mm-hmm.
at Cowboys Stadium. Royal Rumble is going to be in St. Louis.
Mm-hmm.
They already announced that Money in the Bank is going to be at Allegiant Stadium, where SummerSlam was held.
Yeah.
SummerSlam is happening on a Saturday in July in Nashville, Tennessee. Now, here's the weird thing. WWE is apparently going to hold a major stadium show in the UK in August to celebrate the 30th anniversary of SummerSlam 1992, which was held at Wembley in the UK, but it's not going to be SummerSlam. So what like that I do not understand.
Yeah, I don't get that.
Okay, also Survivor Series will be in Boston, but they're doing a few big pay-per-view events on Saturday next year, which normally WWE doesn't do. What do you think of doing Money in the Bank, SummerSlam, Survivor Series all on Saturday next year?
Well, I think
and night 1 of WrestleMania.
And it seems like they're doing it mostly in actually Royal Rumble's going to be on Saturday. I think it's different. It's a good thing to change it up.
Mm-hmm.
But I also think because like AEW does their pay-per-views on Saturday, and I think Saturdays are not a bad days to do pay-per-views. I think Sunday is kind of like I think you grab more attention on a Sunday than you do on a Saturday, but it's something we're trying. I mean, they need to do something to switch it up and see if they could get more audience members on Peacock.
So Rumble is at the Dome at America Center. What about SummerSlam? It's in Nashville.
Nissan Stadium, which is where the Tennessee Titans play.
Yeah, you're up on all the stadium stuff. There's also going to be a New Year's Day pay-per-view event on January 1st, also on a Saturday. Interestingly enough,
State Farm Arena in Atlanta.
Yeah, so they're doing
the Hawks.
Honestly, I don't dislike Saturday wrestling shows personally.
I think it's fine, especially on January 1st. There's really not much going on other than football.
I'll say when I did my Vegas SummerSlam trip, having that Sunday off because I did CinemaCon that week, having that Sunday really helped me sort of like come down from SummerSlam and get me ready for CinemaCon that week.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other major things you wanted to go over or wanted to get off your chest, Mike?
I think we're good. We got almost an hour and 30 minutes. I think it's good. I think we did a good show today.
Yeah. More than anything, the guys that got released, I think some of them might end up in Impact. Some might end up in AEW, but I think like Keith Lee, he is a beloved talent, and I think he will be okay.
Yeah,
and I think he's going to work regularly. The problem is though, Ring of Honor as we know it is dead, and it just really sucks right now what's going on with Ring of Honor as all these people are getting cut. So there will be less options out there. Now the good thing is there are places like GCW and Independent Wrestling TV and New Japan to a lesser extent, and they're doing some show. New Japan is running shows in the US, like they're doing San Jose Civic in San Jose next weekend, actually same weekend as Full Gear. So
and then they're going to be stopping at Riverside on the 15th.
So some of these guys will be able to get work with some good promotions, and there's GCW right now. It just sucks that Ring of Honor they're in a bad place right now, and they might not, and you think they're not coming back. So
Yeah.
it sucks when a promotion like that goes away, because it means less options and less places for guys to work and show their craft. So
Yeah.
I don't know what's going to happen with Ring of Honor, but it just doesn't look good right now. But
I agree.
this is why it's important that we have AEW. We have another big promotion that has weekly primetime television. It gives wrestlers options to work. And when you have more options, it's better for the business. It's better for the workers. It's better for the fans. It's better for everybody when you have competition, you know?
Exactly. Exactly. So, since we're ending the show, how can
Okay.
people find you?
All right. So you can check me out on Twitter at Wheeljack83. You can check out my wrestling news coverage on 411mania.com. You can also check out my movie review coverage, my review of Marvel's Eternals, my reviews of My Hero Academia, of Dune, and much more coming down the pike. My review of Ghostbusters. I also have some more exclusives coming up with Ghostbusters. Check out my exclusive interview with screenwriter and executive producer Gil Keenan, and I have some more coming up for Ghostbusters Afterlife very soon. My wrestling interviews podcast is the 411 Wrestling Interviews podcast. You can find that on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, and Google Play. Please go check that out.
Awesome. And you know where you can find me here at MUSE TV, at Muse_Mike and MUSE TV. We have a lot of great things coming up. And also, too, if you want to take a look and take a preview of MUSE TV, our new network that is coming to Roku, it is live right now. Just go into your Roku TV, search MUSE TV. And you'll find the MUSE logo, which is the colorful MUSE logo, and click on that, add the channel, and you'll be able to see some of the interviews that we're going to be putting up and some of the things we're going to be doing when we launch on January of 2022, which means This Week in Pro Wrestling is going to be on the MUSE TV network. So, Jeffrey, you're going to be live in a studio, and we're going to do the show in studio, and we're going to be friggin' bringing in live guests.
I'm so excited.
Studio. So there we go. And we're going to be inviting everybody. So we're out there. You are asking you to come in, be a part of our show.
Thank you.
Everybody, don't forget to have a great week. We see you next Sunday. Saturday, we could talk about Full Throttle next Sunday, because then the pay-per-view is going to be over and we'll be able to talk about it. So, Jeffrey, have a good week. Everybody out on TV land, we'll see you next week. And this was This Week in Pro Wrestling. See you next time.